Al Jazeera Podcasts.
Today, Palestinian-American comedian Mo Amer on the art of comedy.
I was encouraged to change my name and go to LA and don't tell them you're Palestinian. That was a big thing. I was like, I can never do that. I would lose myself. However, after 9/11, I was Italian for a solid 2 months, okay?
How does he keep us laughing in the face of dark times? I'm Malika Bilal, and this is The Take. Before we go on with today's show, remember to leave us a comment telling us what you think about this episode and what names you want to hear from next. Or if you're listening on your podcast app, leave us a review telling us where you're listening from. And feel free to give us a 5-star rating while you're there. It really helps the show. Thanks. Mo Amer is a stand-up comedian, actor, writer, and producer whose stand-up special Wild World is now streaming on Netflix. I spoke with him on Thursday about his latest work and how his own life story provides much of the inspiration for his creativity. Mo, it is really good to have you on The Take. Welcome. I want to start where you begin in your latest comedy special on Netflix, Wild World, with a line that I can't fully say on this podcast, but in essence, it is F DJ Khaled. For our audience who doesn't know, DJ Khaled is a producer and a musician. Like you, he's a pretty prominent Palestinian-American. And this sets a no-holds-barred tone to kick things off. Why? Why there?
You know, over the last 3 years of making my series and to see what's the genocide is happening in Gaza and what's all that's transpired over these last 3 years has been really unfathomable. And the job of a comedian is to observe what's happening around him and what people are thinking and feeling. And that's all it was, really. That's part of it. So it's like DJ Khaled, the fact that he is Palestinian, he hasn't said a single word, is not, even uttered like, please stop the madness or thinking of my people, nothing. Mm-hmm. And doubled down to just continue to show how luxurious his life is and how much like food he has and access he has. It was like really, really wild to see. It felt tone deaf, like completely tone deaf, and somebody who's really not aware of what's going on completely. And being Palestinian was really jarring to see that. And again, I'm just commenting what the world is thinking about him. It's not what I necessarily, I don't feel that way, to be honest with you. He lives in a different universe and he operates in like these, so I don't know who he is. He really is not present in that way.
And in Wild World, you explain that some of the material from that special evolved from this raw performance that you did in the wake of October 7th, 2023, with Hamas's unprecedented attack on Israel and the beginning of what we now know as Israel's genocide in Gaza. So how do you decide what makes it onto the stage and what's perhaps too raw to touch?
It's one of those things like you don't know until you do it. Like I think Dave famously said, you don't know where the line is until you cross it.
Dave Chappelle.
Yes, and it's absolutely true. I think this special in particular was the closing of a chapter with my season 2 of Mo, and I think it really needed to be that way. It was more reflective. It was more of the time. It was more of, speaking to that. Also my inner emotions, my own struggles. And it's just very raw. The whole special is very raw.
I was doing these pop-ups in Houston, these very small shows, just to see what my community was going through. And to my surprise, all these angry white people were snatching up the tickets. I showed up one night to my show. Before I even grabbed the microphone, this lady goes, "You tell them, baby. You tell them exactly how you feel. They told me do my research. I done did my research." I was like, Israel f***ed up so bad, and now rednecks are supporting Palestine? This is crazy.
Fortunately for us, you have made the decision to keep sharing a lot of that raw, very real life on screen. And that's through the stand-up specials and also through your critically acclaimed and quite excellent Netflix series, Mo. So, based on those things, we know that you were born to Palestinian refugee parents in Kuwait, that you had to flee when you were a child at the start of the Gulf War, that you grew up in Houston, Texas, essentially stateless and without citizenship or papers, but also that you are very, very funny and figured out a way to show the tragedy of what it is to be in that position and still make us laugh. I want to play a scene for our audience from the second season of Mo, where your character, after a series of mishaps, finds himself in a detention center on the US-Mexico border, and there's no help in sight.
Do you speak English?
Yeah, I speak English just fine.
Shit, no accent even. Let me get that.
Careful with that ring. I'm gonna propose to my girl with that.
Lucky woman. Mohammed Najar?
Najar.
Najar. What's your birthday, 9/11?
It is actually.
Hilarious. You'll get this back when you're released.
So you wrote that scene before the world knew about Alligator Alcatraz, before the detention of Mahmoud Khalil, the current ICE roundups. What does it feel like to see the world stage catch up to your writer's room, and not in a good way?
It's not a shock at all, because if you watch my first special, The Vagabond, I predicted the Russia-Ukraine war. I spoke about Palestine and wore kufiya in that special. It was really ahead of its time. The big surprise to me is that how ignored it is by the mainstream media. They really understand like how advanced this show is, how in touch and in tune the show is. And that's probably more upsetting more than anything else. It's like, here's a show that's literally doing something that no one has ever done before. And not only going into detention centers, talking about the immigration system, dissecting it into a million pieces, emotionally, and showing physically what it takes to go through that. And it's completely ignored. But what I learned is so much from doing the detention center, which was just a massive risk, like to portray something. Are we going to do it justice? It's only a half-hour show. Do we have enough time? There was a lot of risk to take in that, but I knew that it was worth it because it's important to try to show what it's like being in there. And we did interview a couple of, former detainees, and we got, some really great insights, sad insights, difficult insights. It was hard to listen to a lot of it. And I'm just so grateful that he was so open and was willing to share those stories with us. And that's where we got the guy meowing, was from him, actually. It was
so a true story.
Said, 100%. The guy kept meowing. They called him El Gato. And it ended up working because his strategy was, I guess, to meow, to annoy the guards so much, they just let him go. And eventually they did. But it was also seeing, that the kids are separate from their families, and the fact that it's very dehumanizing all the way through and through. And it's very sad to know that these places exist, and the fact that it's become more and more real post the series. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me happy. Like, I told you so. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy. I wish I wish it was over. But I know that these things last quite a long time. Yeah. So that's what it is, and this is what I've been hearing my whole life, and I've experienced it my whole life. And when I was touring and coming back into the States and didn't have a passport yet, and I would get huddled into that little room, and to see how the officers were treating people from, other countries was really disheartening. And that's where I got that, do you speak English? That part was actually a real thing that happened to me. The lady before me went there, and he got real upset with her. He was like, "Oh, of course you don't speak English." He's just and then he grabs my travel document, which is incidentally it's right here on my desk, just to remind me.
Wow, you keep
just to
it?
Remind me. Yeah, I kept it. It's just to
so
remind me.
This is your refugee travel document, which inside says it's not a passport, but this is what you had.
Yes. So see right here at the top, it says this is not a United States passport. Yeah. So anyway, but this is this is where I got it from. And then he grabbed my travel doc, he looked at it, and he just started cursing. He was like, oh. And he looks at me, he's like, do you speak English? Like speaking loudly and slowly, like that's going to help if I don't speak English. And I was like, yeah, I speak English just fine. And he was so relieved. He was like, all right, just get the hell out of here.
More with Mo after the break. So I want to bring us back to the news again, because this is the time of year when Palestinian farmers in the occupied West Bank head to their olive fields for the harvest. And that's a harvest that's gotten deadlier and deadlier thanks to increasing settler attacks by Israeli settlers. Olive oil is the storyline in your show, and your family is from a West Bank town called Burin, which is no stranger to these attacks on the people and the trees. We get to see this town in the series, Mo, which means there is this beautiful, complex image of Palestine broadcast on one of the largest media platforms in the world. What does that mean to you?
Oh, man, it's everything. It's like a historical archive. It's more than just a television show. So no matter what happens, my son can look at it and say, that's where I come from. That's where my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my grandparents come from, and the ones before that. So it was really, really crucial for me to make it as authentic and as grounded as possible, from the storyline, from the acting, from the surroundings, whether it be Houston or Burin or Mexico. I wanted it to be real, and I wanted it to be felt in a profound way. And the fact that this, again, is like, check another box for me, knowing what's going on and no one else does. And then you see it on the news of as far as like what's happening in these oil fields. And you know, I have to check on my aunt, actually. You just reminded me I need to call her and see what she's potentially going through, because this is the season when you do that. And I remember she called me last year apologizing because she couldn't get to the rest of the trees. They were vandalized, or they had roadblocks, or it was just too dangerous to get there. So yeah, it's a never-ending cycle of heartbreak, you know, and heartache. Like the fact that we can't just live freely within our lands is just devastating. You know, the fact that I can't just go there every summer and just hang out at my grandparents' house and walk my son around peacefully so he can hang around his great aunts and his cousins is just, it's a robbery of time. It's not even like just a land grab. It's the thing that you can never get back, which is your time with your people that you love so much. And I can't even talk about it. Just I'll lose it.
Thank you for going there. Yeah, it's raw in the special. It's raw in the TV show, and hearing about it is very real. So thank you for sharing.
Of course, and I feel very strongly about this. Like what I did in the show, especially season 2, what I was able to accomplish in season 2 is unprecedented, and I don't know if anyone will ever do anything like this again.
Okay, so this is anecdotal, but I want to illustrate what you're saying and why it's so important. So there's a YouTube comment. Usually never read the YouTube comments, but under one of your videos, this one with Dave Chappelle for Variety,
I never read comments.
Your process. Well, I'm going to have to read this one for you because it really caught my eye. Of course, anecdotal. I cannot independently verify it, but this is what someone wrote. Bro, his show with the one episode where they go to Palestine turned my Jewish mother, who used to donate to the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, to an anti-Zionist Jewish Voice for Peace member. 1, do you believe that? And 2, if so, what do you make of that?
I just got goosebumps. Why would anybody say that? I think that's 100% true. That's incredible. Wow. Yeah, how many more are like this? I just think that it did its job of being honest and real and raw, that someone could finally, you know, uncover whatever was that veil that was over their eyes and over their hearts, more importantly. There are human beings that are just waiting to feel something when they watch real art or great storytelling or great television or whatever, that it moves them in a way that allows them to understand, like, there's a lot for us here. There's plenty for everyone, and there's no reason to be fighting over anything, truly.
I want to talk about some of the reaction outside of the US from people either from here, from outside when you're touring, because winning a Peabody Award, being nominated for an Emmy, both for Mo, but you've also talked about how
I was
you've
never nominated for an
spoken.
Emmy. I got an
You
American
weren't.
Television Honor. I got it, which is crazy. We should have been, but we got
The-
we got an Academy Television Honor. We got a Peabody. We got an American Film Institute Honor, and we won a Gotham Award for Best New Series under
Mm,
40 minutes. So thank
congratulations.
you. Yeah, like, it's too close to home. That's
Mm.
what it told me. Like, it told me the show was too raw for them to even recognize it. But I
Mm.
did get a great gift for making the whole series. I got these little mugs where you can warm your beverage that's in it. So all I did was I had to just break my back for 18 months and
And
literally
bare your
work like
soul.
16 to 20-hour days, unearth all these memories and the most of difficult emotional experiences. And I don't even know
Yeah.
how many times of rawness and weeping and writing and staying up, 8 to 12-hour, 14-hour days in the dark room, editing with my two editors, rotating, only for it to culminate to wonderful little warming mugs that you can buy for $30. That's the
Okay, well,
gift.
well, then I'm here to say that the impact is so much more than those warming
Of
cozies.
course.
It is so much more.
Of
So,
course. But I'd rather them not send me a gift, to be
I
honest. Like,
yeah, I
just
get that.
don't send me a gift, bro. It's very insulting. Very insulting. And also tell your people, like, y'all need to think of other gifts.
You've also talked about how the breadth of that, performing all those places, has allowed you to meet people after your shows on the sidelines. And among those people are doctors who've worked in Gaza. You've met amputee children maimed in Israeli strikes who have watched your show in Gaza. What do those reactions mean to you?
I mean, I don't even know how to begin to describe the emotion of that. I'm at a loss for words because those experiences were so raw. Like, I always imagined that I would make it. I always knew that I would make it. I really believed in myself that I knew it was going to happen. I never knew it was going to happen under these type of circumstances. And to me, like, amputee kids, like this kid I can't get out of my head. He's 3 years old. I remember taking a picture with him, and he had lost his right leg from his knee down, and his mom was murdered, and his
Mm,
dad's no longer there. He's an orphan kid. He's in
mm,
Chicago. And yeah, he's just like, whatever I went through was nothing. And you just remember, like, everything that I worked so hard for to tell the story was for them, you know?
mm.
And when I met the doctors, it's an absolute horror show. The videos that they showed me were, no one could ever have imagined or think that you could just see this type of thing happen.
Mhm.
We have someone here in Houston who's a doctor. She's lost 197 relatives.
Oh my God.
That's when I talked to her basically a year ago. So
Mm,
who knows? You know how long it takes to accumulate that many relatives? You know how long you have to be in a land for you to have thousands of relatives?
yeah.
So it's a gut wrenching. It doesn't even begin to describe it. It's like it was very, very difficult. And literally it's just constant exertion of energy and output of energy. And I could have done this special and just said, I'm going to ignore everything because I did it in season 2 and I'm just going to go raw comedy. And I felt like that was a easy way out. So there needs to be like some kind of closing of this chapter, and it's
Mhm.
okay to make people uncomfortable, and it's okay to push the boundaries because in the end, like, you don't want to regret not saying anything or not saying at all. And not what I'm saying also, but everybody's thinking. It's not really all my point of view. It's really what everyone is thinking and saying out loud, and it's an opportunity to bring our hearts together and our minds together for a better future. And I think that's what it's all about for me, is just trying to bring everyone together.
Well, finally, Mo, I want to end where we began with the special Wild World. It includes a pretty funny anecdote about the birth of your son. And I don't know, I'm saying funny because I know what childbirth is like. I doubt it was funny for your wife at the time, because it also involves your wife's many, many, many hours in labor. Bless her.
Bless her.
I went back in the room. She starts to have another contraction. So I started to give advice. I was like, honey, you spread those knees apart, okay? Loosen up them hips, spread those knees apart. She goes, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. I was like, you right. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but this is what you wanted. You wanted to have a natural home birth, and now you have a comedian delivering our baby. That's what's happening.
Now, your son has been on the road with you. He's been on stage with you.
Yes.
When he's old enough, how do you think you're going to explain your work and your place in the world, knowing that it's only going to get wilder?
I think it's just going to be natural. I think, I talk to him like a grown man now. He's not even 2
How old is he?
but he's 23 months. He's almost 2. So I talk to him like a grown man now. I think it's really important to not hold children small, not let their size fool you. Their brains are fully capable and mature enough to soak it all up. So, obviously you don't want to overwhelm them or traumatize them in any kind of way. But I'm very, very clear with how I communicate with him, even though he's just mumbling and saying a lot of words, but not speaking in complete sentences yet. And maybe it's my fault because I'm speaking speaking to him in Arabic full time, and his mom is speaking to him in English. So he's just walking around like, he's like, I don't know what language to speak. But yeah, I think it's just very important to be honest with your children and to pick the right moments to share different stories with them. And, I hope that God gives me a long life so I'm able to give him everything I've got. So everything I've had, everything I've learned. And I want him to be 100 times better than me.
Mo Amer, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for sharing your story with the world. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And it is a comedy special, I swear to God. Every time I get on something, it's always so sad and gloomy.
I know.
We're going to have to change this up.
I laughed in this conversation. I laughed in the special. I laughed in Mo. So the laughs are there. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.